Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Samson Pruitt. I am owner, co-owner, and co-founder of Slither Exotics. This video is probably not going to be as long as the others, although I have been known to be somewhat long-winded. But it's a video that needs to be made and needs to be talked about. It's really simple. Water. The first time that I realized how absolutely important water was, and the availability, the constant availability of as much clean water as the snake could use, was when I fed a 20-foot snake. Back then I loved big meals. I mean, we did 65 and 85 pound pigs with giant snakes. It would take 18 hours for the snake to swallow the meal, and then the snake would be digesting for a week or more. But I remember it happened like yesterday. The snake finished swallowing the prey item and went straight to a water bowl. Now, in my giant snake enclosures, the really, really big snakes, I actually have two water bowls. I have a water bowl on the far left of the enclosure, and I have a water bowl on the far right. Now, the water bowls that I use are the 99-cent plastic 6-quart tubs that you can buy at Walmart. And I build a wooden frame for the tub to sit in so that the snake doesn't turn it over. Well, anyway, back to this. The snake ate this massive meal, and I watched her go to a brand new, full 1-gallon water bowl and completely empty it, slurping the last few drops out of the bottom. And I was super, super impressed. I was like, wow, that snake just drank a gallon of water. Well, you know what she did then? She turned around, went to the other side of the enclosure, and drank the other entire gallon of water. So when this happened, and it happened pretty early on in my keeping and breeding days, so it made me pay really close attention to the behaviors of the retics concerning the water. I mean, all of us have caught them drinking from time to time, but I started paying attention to the correlation between food and water. And what I found is, if you watch your snake eat, 99% of the time, immediately after swallowing their prey item, they will go gorge themselves on water. And so I kept watching, and I started paying attention not only to the big snakes, but to the younger snakes and the hatchlings. If you breed and raise retics long enough, you will run across something that, prior to figuring this out, I just assumed was bad luck. But young hatchlings get blockages really easily, intestinal blockages. And it happens a lot more often than you would think it would. With a collection the size of mine, I just kind of chalked it up as having so many more snakes that it happened to me so much more often. But then I realized that the water drinking plays a huge role in the snake's ability to properly digest and process their meals. In my opinion, and this has been 7 years now since I first had the water hypothesis, in my opinion, 90% of intestinal blockages, mostly with hatchlings, Big snakes can generally process and pass it easier, but with hatchlings, what happens is you give them a frozen thawed mouse, right? Well, while that mouse is frozen, it slowly over time begins to dehydrate. That's why if you see them dig up one of these mammoths that's been frozen for 10 million years, the thing looks like a mummy, because over time the water is pulled out of the prey item and evaporates during the time that it's frozen. So I changed the way that we feed throughout my entire collection. If you are one of my employees and you are feeding a snake in the Slither collection, you are required to have the prey items actually soaking in water and wet. That way, if there's a dry water bowl by accident, or if the snake struggles with finding the water as a tiny little hatchling, at least they're taking in extra fluid, extra water to help prevent the intestinal blockages. I don't really have much to add to it. Give your snakes water. Give them more water than they need. Do not take your snakes out and feed them in a separate container that doesn't have water, because by the time you put them back, the instinct to drink may have left them. Prevent intestinal blockages. Make sure that everybody has fresh, clean water at least every couple of days. And when you feed, do not feed unless the snake has immediate access to fresh, clean water. Have a great day, guys.